Nigel Farage's claim that he's been advised not to hold consultancy surgeries in Clacton due to security issues is a curious one, and it's hard not to view it with a healthy dose of scepticism. Let's break it down a little, because Farage's reasoning for avoiding surgeries in Clacton is somewhat reminiscent of a teenager avoiding homework by claiming their dog ate it. He suggests that constituents might flow through the door with knives in their pockets, which, while dramatic, seems a little far-fetched even by his standards. It conjures up an image of Clacton residents as a sort of knife-wielding flash mob, eager to rush into his office at the mere whiff of an open-door policy. If true, one wonders if the good people of Clacton are perhaps more expressive than any of us imagined, but it also misunderstands the nature of an MP's constituency surgery. Generally, people are invited to the surgery at a specific time. They are quite carefully vetted even before that point. During his chat with Nick Ferrari on LBC, Farage was asked why he hadn't held any surgeries since his election. His response was classic Farage performance, dancing round the issue like a cat avoiding a bath. He claimed he wasn't allowing the public to flow through the door with knives in their pockets, which sounds more like a premise of a low-budget thriller than a rational argument for a sitting MP. Part of the job of a sitting MP is to hold surgeries and to meet the people who voted the MP in the first place. The claim that he was given official advice not to hold in-person meetings has been met with scepticism even from insiders. And he could always hold virtual surgeries on Zoom, but he doesn't seem to have done that either. The Parliamentary Security Department will undoubtedly advise on safety measures, but outright banning face-to-face interactions would be like banning tea in Britain. It's actually unthinkable and unnecessary. Farage's comparison to the tragic murder of Sir David Amess, is a stark reminder of the very real threats faced by MPs. However, the suggestion that he, of all people, would be the only MP to receive this particular advice seems a tad self-aggrandizing. It's almost as if he's implying that his political persona is so incendiary that the mere sight of him would incite the kind of response usually reserved for medieval uprisings. And then there's his preference for Zoom meetings. Ah, yes, because nothing screams man of the people like communicating via webcam from a safe distance. Zoom is not the end of the world, but he doesn't seem to have done that either. For many of his constituents who might not have reliable internet or the technical know-how, it seems a pretty cheap approach. And it seems perfectly possible that he could arrange a face-to-face meeting. After all, he has a face-to-face meeting with Ferrari. The surgery is simply one interpretation of meeting the constituents. I remember I had an MP in Oxford who used to arrange not constituency surgery meetings, but to arrange to see individual constituents on an ad hoc basis over the week. I remember meeting him once in a tea room, and I was the only person he was meeting at that moment. And he gave me all his attention. I was very impressed. He was a Liberal. Evan Harris, I think his name was. Subsequently, I discovered far more of the traditional Conservative surgery from Andrea Leadsom and from somebody else. I can't remember who the next Oxford MP was, but she didn't hold the surgery even in Oxford. I had to go to Abingdon for that. So, is Farage's claim genuine, or is it just another headline grabber from a man who brought us Brexit? It's hard to say, but the evidence, or the lack thereof, suggests that we might be witnessing yet another episode of the Farage show. High on drama, low on substance, with more plot twists than a soap opera. The rhetoric to the fore. One thing is clear, Farage's reluctance to hold surgeries in Clacton might have less to do with knives in pockets and more to do with preference for the limelight and cash in pockets. He can make more money by going to America than he can by going down to his local library and holding a formal surgery. Whether he's endorsing the US, endorsing Trump, or sparring on LBC. For now, the constituents will have to be content with a pixelated Nigel, even if they get that safely ensconced behind a screen where no sharp objects can reach him. And of course, if anybody says anything untoward, he can press a button and say, "Sorry, can't hear you. Sorry, there seems to be some problem with the wireless connection." Or he could just accidentally lean on the end call button.